On July 1st, 2017, the Nevada government legalized recreational cannabis for the entire state, and since that day, the recreational marketplace has become a powerhouse. We've raised $480 million in total retail sales, which works out to about $73 million in tax revenue, and that's just for the 2020 fiscal year alone. Since then, because of all this success, the Nevada government has consistently called the cannabis industry here the gold standard state, and our regulatory body, the Department of Taxation, as the gold standard of regulation. And we're even influential for other states. But with stories of blatant nepotism, serious questions about how commercial licenses were allocated, and workplace harassment and employee bullying that's resulted in numerous lawsuits, is the Department of Taxation really the gold standard of cannabis regulation? Before you even work your first day in the cannabis industry here in Nevada, the Department of Taxation bombards you with a 13-page document. 5 different agent card group possibilities: cultivation, production, dispensary, laboratory, or distributor. And each individual category of card requires the employee to pay $75 to the Department of Taxation. And if you end up getting a job that requires multiple agent cards, you're looking at hundreds, possibly thousands of dollars a year simply to keep your job in this industry. And that's before all the fingerprinting costs. Some fingerprinting locations can charge up to $125 for each visit. You know, because it's so necessary you get fingerprinted every year. Your fingerprints could change, year to year, and you could be the Zodiac Killer for all we know. By February of this current fiscal year, the Department of Taxation has collected almost $4.5 million from licensing and application fees on their own. But compared to the nearly $74 million in tax revenue collected so far this fiscal year, the Department of Taxation is causing hourly employees to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars a year, all for what adds up to be barely 6% of the total revenue. If you were to look over at Colorado's MED badge marijuana agent card program, you'll notice one very, very glaring difference. As of January 1st, 2020, there's only one agent card for the entire state, regardless of your role in the industry. And if that's not enough of a slap in the face already, the Colorado MED badge costs $100 and is good for 2 years. And while fingerprinting is required in Colorado as well, not having multiple cards saves employees in the Colorado cannabis industry, many of whom don't even make $13 an hour, thousands of dollars over the years. States that legalize recreational cannabis are racing to make their program the most inclusive and the most progressive when it comes to the victims from the war on drugs, those who receive felony records because of simple marijuana possession in some cases. Yet when it comes to Nevada's excluded felony offenses for a marijuana agent card program, it's anything but progressive. If you were convicted of any drug-related felony over the past decade in Nevada, the state that was once the only state in the country to have any cannabis possession charge instantly become a felony, then you're out of luck because those are excluded offenses. If you're a master grower in Nevada who unfortunately got caught with a felony amount within the last decade, then you don't have a chance at clearly lucrative opportunities. As for Colorado, a state where low-level cannabis possession has almost never been a felony, they're way more progressive when it comes to their excluded felony offenses. Their exclusionary period for felonies has a waiting period of only 3 years, far less than Nevada's 10 years. Making applicants wait 10 years instead of 3 years? How exactly is that gold standard worthy? As I briefly mentioned in the intro, there's been clear examples of nepotism or playing favorites at both the Department of Taxation and in the Marijuana Enforcement Division. And you would imagine somewhere on the agent card application in Nevada, there's questions about nepotism or playing favorites. And yet, you'd be surprised. Not located on any of the 13 pages of this application is there a single question about family members or domestic partners possibly working for the Department of Taxation or the Marijuana Enforcement Division. On the Colorado application, however, it's right there. Under the section for exclusionary questions, it asks that question clear as day. Colorado has made a point to address this directly in their application to be transparent and stop conflicts of interest. Where the hell are those questions on the Nevada application? To conclude, the Nevada Department of Taxation has been taking thousands and thousands of dollars from their cannabis employees in the form of 5 different agent card types, as well as a 1-year lifespan, significantly shorter than Colorado's lifespan on their agent card. And on top of that, they're excluding felons by making them wait 10 years as opposed to 3 years. And even on top of all of that, they're not addressing nepotism or playing favorites in their application process. And because of that, nepotism and playing favorites has happened. If the vast differences between the Nevada application and the Colorado application truly upset you, let your state representatives know. Let them know why these regulations are unfair towards the employee and why we should be on par with at least Colorado. This has been Nevada NORML News. I'm Josh Kasoff with Irregulators. You have a good night.